Let me give you some numbers. Only 5 states in this entire country showed meaningful improvement in reading between 2022 and 2025. Five out of 50. And nationally, students are still nearly half a grade level behind where they were before the pandemic in reading. But here's where it gets cold. Researchers at Stanford and Harvard just confirmed that test scores were declining 4 to 6 years before COVID ever existed. Their words, you wouldn't even know there was a pandemic if you looked at the last 10 to 12 years of scores. There's been just a steady decline regardless. Stop blaming the virus. The virus didn't do this. The system did this. And the virus was just the excuse they needed to accelerate what was already in motion. The lowest performing students, the bottom 10%, have lost 2 full grade levels since 2015. 2 grade levels. That translates directly to 5% of their lifetime earnings. Gone before they ever enter the workforce. That's not a learning gap. That's an economic extraction plan written on report cards. And what did they put in charge of fixing it? A wrestling promoter. Linda McMahon. Think about that for a full second. WWE, where outcomes are predetermined, conflict is scripted, and the audience is trained, no, conditioned to believe what they're watching is real. That's not an accident of a resume. That is a philosophy being installed at the top of American education. Same man, more chaotic administration. Because the first time around, he stood at a podium holding a red cape like a matador while COVID charged the American people, dodging, performing, running out the clock, never putting it down. And now he's back, laying off more than half the staff at the Institute of Education Sciences, the agency responsible for measuring what our children actually know, and canceling a dozen national assessments through 2032. They're not just failing your kids. They are dismantling the scoreboard so you can't see the score. And here's what the score actually says. The achievement gap between the highest and lowest performing students in 12th grade math is now wider than at any point ever recorded. The top 10% held. Everybody else fell. Dumb, sick, broke. That's not a failure state. That's the target demographic for every extractive industry in this country, from payday loans to pharmaceuticals to the prison pipeline. You need a population that can operate a platform but can't read a contract, that can scroll but can't synthesize, that reacts but never reasons. 3 consecutive administrations of officials stood at that same podium and issued the same warning. My predecessor warned of this trend, and her predecessor warned of this trend, and now I'm warning you. 3 generations of warnings, zero intervention. That's not negligence. That's policy. The ancient schools, Kemet, Timbuktu, the original academies before Europe rewrote the bibliography. They didn't separate math from philosophy, from astronomy, from law. They built complete human beings. It's not primitive. That's a threat. A literate, historically grounded, mathematically capable people cannot be easily governed by spectacle. So they put the spectacle in charge of the classroom. Researchers are now calling literacy the most persistent barrier to full recovery. But recovery assumes someone is trying to recover you. Look at the decisions being made. Look at what's being cut. Look at who's in the seat. This isn't recovery. This is managed decline. And only one state, one, has returned to pre-pandemic levels in both reading and math. One state out of 50. They're not building for the knowledge economy. They're not building for leadership. They're building for the Hunger Games, districts, platforms, controlled competition for scraps while the capital watches. Watch the pattern. Follow the money. Just open your eyes. Keith speaks.